of your toys. Eh? You're such a menace. You're like a Dudley Dursley. Eh? You just break all your toys. I should have called you Dudley. Surprise! Surprise! I have yet another book haul. I last month saw Grand Budapest Hotel, which I had been anticipating greatly. I was so excited for this film that when I saw the trailer, I looked it up to see if it was based on a book, and I didn't see that it was based on any kind of book, so I just kind of waited patiently to watch the movie. It's so brilliant and hilarious, and the dialogue is so delicious and sumptuous, and I just want to crawl inside that movie and just live in the dialogue. I adore that movie. And then at the end of the movie, it says, dedicated to Stefan Zweig, who is someone I've never heard of. So I went home and I Googled him, and I found out that he was an author, and a lot of Grand Budapest Hotel was inspired partly by his fiction, partly by his life. And so I thought, well, of course, I need to read stuff by this man. So I bought 2 books by him. One of them is The Society of the Cross Keys. It is actually a selection of his writing. There's a selection of his fiction, and also there's a selection from his memoir. And I believe, I could be wrong, that this particular edition was curated by Wes Anderson. There is a conversation with Wes Anderson in this book. And so I thought this would be a good jumping off point to start reading it. I think when I finish reading what I'm reading right now, this is the next thing that I definitely want to read. And then the second book that I bought by him was Beware of Pity. There's actually a selection of Beware of Pity in the Society of the Cross Keys, but I wanted to have the full complete book so I could start reading it. The quotes on the back of this are really promising and lovely, and just it sounds really fascinating. This is the first book that Wes Anderson read by this author, and it's what introduced him to his writing and made him fall in love with his writing. So I'm really excited to read this too once I read the first one. And then, because I thought, why not, I already ordered 2 books, why not just order one more? I bought Unravel Me, which is the second book in the Shatter Me series. I previously hauled Shatter Me and Ignite Me, and now I have the middle one and can marathon them at any time I want, which is very exciting. The next 2 books are graphic novels. I don't actually use my Amazon wish list. What I do when I want something on Amazon, I put it in my cart and then I save it for later. And then every time you go to your Amazon cart, it'll tell you if things have decreased or increased in price. And when I saw that this next one had gone down to $10, I just knew that I had to buy it because I've been wanting it forever. And that is Spike Stranger Things, which is Volume 2. I believe you can buy both Volume 1 and Volume 2 in the same book now. But I bought Volume 1 a long, long time ago, and I've wanted this forever. I am such a massive fan of the Angel After the Fall comic books, and then the Spike After the Fall comic books. They're all written, well, not all of them, with the exception of the 6th one, they're all written by Brian Lynch, who I have become such a fangirl for. I love Brian Lynch. I love what Brian Lynch has done with the Angel and Spike story. He completely understands Spike and his humor. I love Brian Lynch, and I love everything that he's done. I've actually already read this one. I read it pretty much as soon as I got it, and I love the series, and I'm so excited that I got to finish it. The other thing about that's really great about the Angel and Spike series is that there's little kind of like Easter eggs within the art that are hilarious. I don't know if you can see this, but they're kind of Cthulhu looking actually. There's these demon biker gang, and his patch says "Hey Craft" instead of Lovecraft, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And then Willow shows up and turns them all into kittens. But yeah, Brian Lynch really understands Spike's voice, and just I feel like I'm watching it on the show, but I'm watching the panels go by, and just I laugh out loud and smile, and I adore this series, and I'm so happy that I got to complete it. But yeah, the other thing that's really gorgeous about these hardcover editions of Angel and Spike is the art gallery in the back. This isn't my favorite art gallery. There's ones that are a lot nicer, but they give you additional pictures at the end. So yeah, if you are like a Buffy and Angel fan and you haven't read the Angel comic books, particularly if you were a Spike fan, I love Spike. Spike's my favorite. I would really recommend Angel After the Fall and Spike After the Fall and anything written by Brian Lynch because he's fantastic. The second graphic novel, when I saw that this one had dropped in price, I thought, well, maybe another one has dropped in price. Another one that I've been wanting for, again, literally years, and that is Serenity, The Shepherd's Tale, which is the tale of a shepherd's book. My greatest regret and sadness about Firefly ending is not getting to know what happened to Shepherd Book in its past. Like, you have this preacher who has this dark past and has these skills that are unexplainable to the present. And so I always wanted to know how he got the way he did. And this is the story that tells you what happened in Shepherd Book's past. Actually, I think it was the 10-year Firefly panel at Comic-Con. They mentioned how this was one of the Dark Horse's best-selling comics because it was so popular and so many people wanted to know about Shepherd's story, myself included. So I finally got this, and it's very short. I've read this already too. As soon as I got it, I read it. It's quite short. It's quite brief. When I saw how small it was, I was really surprised. I was expecting it to be longer. Basically, it ends. It starts where Book's story ends in Serenity, and from there it flashes back bit by bit through his life, and it's not so much an well, it is an explanation of what happened, and it's just sort of little vignettes of Shepherd's life. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I'm still really excited that I got this because I've been wanting it forever. The story is by Joss Whedon, and then it was written by Zach Whedon. This is actually the third Serenity comic book. I haven't read any of the other Serenity ones because this is the one that I wanted to read the most, that I was most excited to read. Probably I will read at some point when I can afford it. We'll get the first two, but this is the one that I wanted to read the most. So I got both of these for under $25, so I needed more for shipping. I think the Shepherd Book one was $11 and Spike was $10. So I had to buy these because the hardcovers on Amazon usually around $16, so I just couldn't pass these up. And then because it wasn't quite $25, I needed one more small purchase, and so I bought The Devil by Dostoevsky, which is another one that I've been wanting for a while. I actually own Crime and Punishment and Brothers Karamazov, and I haven't read either of them yet. I really want to read both of them, but I'm kind of intimidated by them because they're quite large and they're so famous. The Russians is one of my big literary gaps. I haven't read any of the famous Russians, and I really want to. So I bought The Devil, one, because it's quite short and I think it would be a really good introduction to Dostoevsky, two, because Richard Ayoade just did his film about the devil, and I love Richard Ayoade. I adore him, so I thought this would be a good place to start. And I'm really excited to get into this too. This is pretty high in my to-read list. And that's it. So yeah, those are the books that I bought at the end of May. Goodbye!